All right, Air Paws in here. Going to be giving you guys the picks for the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. Now, there actually is not a Pro-Am this week. They're going to be playing a little bit differently. Because of that, COVID restrictions, there's no need to do the Pro-Am. So what is going to happen is that they're going to cut it down to two courses like they did, a couple of tournaments ago. It's going to be played on Pebble Beach Golf Links and then Spyglass as well. So it's not going to be factoring in Monterey Peninsula at all this year. So the cut is going to be after 2 rounds instead of 3 rounds like it typically would. For me, I actually like this a little bit. 1, the course is going to play a little bit harder, but 2, it's going to make it just a little bit more predictable because we're not having to factor in that other tournament in which we do not have any strokes gain data. So I'm kind of looking forward to that as a whole, but let's get into that recap of the previous week, and then we'll get into the picks for this week. So recap wise, I kind of already touched on this on the course overview video. Pretty much if Brooks Koepka did not win, I would have taken down a GPP lineup, which is something that I kind of called out. One, I put a YouTube video out there just going over my lineup mass entry process there. And one of those lineups that I had was in second place right before Brooks hold out for Eagle. If he did not win, I had the best remaining lineup that did not have Brooks Koepka. So it's kind of unfortunate there. If he just struggled down the stretch, I win that tournament or at least have a top 5 finish, but still had a top 20 finish with that lineup, had a bunch of other lineups that were in contention in Sunday as well. So if you guys haven't, check out that lineup optimizer. If you guys want to join 9 to 5 Nation, I will be doing this weekly video here, kind of breaking down my lineup optimizer max entry process, if that's the route that I choose to go that week. But overall, we kind of got beat out by kind of just DraftKings price point again. I mean, Daniel Berger, correct play, it didn't work out. Sun Jam was another play right by him. Webb Simpson was another play right by him. That was kind of the theme last week, is that there's just a ton of quality plays at their price point, so you weren't exactly like forced into a play where if you're doing a bunch of max entry GPPs, you could spread out your ownership and feel pretty good about it. And in cash, you're just hoping not to get unlucky, really is what it came down to. And if you landed on Chris Kirk or John Hutt in your cash builds or Daniel Berger, it's just kind of unlucky. We're looking at the stats, we're looking at the model rank, and we can easily see that we were on the right players, we were in the right lineup process. That's just kind of how the PGA DFS season has gone thus far. Eventually, one of these weeks, we're going to have a huge week, and I think it's right around the corner here, because to be hitting on these value plays and other like low exposure plays at the rate that we have been, it's due to happen pretty soon here. But let's get into the process or the picks for the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, if you will. All right, so pretty much what we know based off the course overview video that I did, the stats that we want to look at are going to be ball striking, total driving. We always see that at this course. This is pretty much just a course in which players have to be hitting the ball well. So ball striking, total driving, we want to be looking at as well. I do want to look at bogey avoidance because I think it's going to be playing a lot more tough this year. So I'm going to be looking at bogey avoidance as another kind of key stat. If you're not making bogeys, you're more likely to make the cut, especially if you are doing well in those other key stats that we're going to be looking at. But I will be factoring in strokes gain differential, which is a stat that I like to look at when kind of a course doesn't have any exact key stats per se, where it's kind of just you have to be playing well to play at. And that's strokes gain differential. So I'm going to be looking at that. Strokes gain approach is another stat that I'll be looking at again. And then I have added in another stat. I was going to look at like fairways gained and good drives gained, but I just decided to kind of make opportunities gained, which will just be, percent times that a player had a good drive that led to a green in regulation or close to a green in regulation. So that's what that will be this week. And just looking it over, it's not really surprising here. There's going to be some names that might surprise you for, stat rank. We're looking at Dustin Johnson first. That makes a ton of sense. Dude has been a stud. Will Zalatoris as well. That's a little bit shocking to me. Matthew Naismith, not shocking at all. Jim Furyk, not shocking at all as well. I mean, these guys are all guys that have been playing well. They just, like Matthew Naismith, Jim Furyk, they need to be a little bit more consistent. Patrick Cantlay, not surprising there. James Hahn, Cameron Tringale, Sam Burns, Stuart Singh, Henrik Norlander. Like, it's not really shocking that these guys are up here. One, they played a ton of events and they played some easier courses, but where they have been missing cuts, I guess, recently is just they haven't been as consistent. But when they've been playing well, they've been playing well. But let's just go a little bit further down. We'll show you guys top 20. So Daniel Berger finishes out the top 20 for stat rank. All right, so now moving on to course history. It's going to start off with Jason Day. Jason Day has had 4 straight top 5 finishes or better. Extremely good course history here for him. Daniel Berger had a great finish in 2020, top 5 finish last year. Kevin Streelman, phenomenal here as well. He's finished 2nd, 7th, 6th, and 14th. Yol Null had an 8th place finish in 2017. Not really a factor. He just, that's 4 years ago now. We don't have to worry about that. But Matthew Naismith, top 11 finish in 2020. Phil Mickelson, course horse here. He's been a stud. A 3rd, a 1st, a 2nd, and a 65th place finish. Absolute course stud. Harry Higgs, 2020. He had an 18th place finish. Bremlett as well. Jordan Spieth, though, he's another guy's course horse. 9th, 45th, 20th, and 1st. Going to make a lot of interesting plays for people because he did kind of come into some good form yesterday, and he's kind of been here or there a little bit during the fall swing, so maybe it's just a case of him kind of getting back into the flow of the season, and maybe we finally get the old Jordan back, add a good course for him. And I'm kind of looking at that one. He could be a decent play this week. Then we'll look at Dustin Johnson as well. Dustin Johnson is going to be a play that I like this week as well. 32nd, 45th, 2nd, and 3rd place finish, and then just rounding out the top 12. Paul Casey, 64th, 2nd, and 8th. And then Scott Piercy, he finished 18th, 10th, 20th, and 55th at this course over the last 4 years. All right, guys, so now we're going to get into the top recent form rank plays, and then we'll get into the picks for this week. So we've got Patrick Cantlay. Patrick Cantlay's had a good season, really, since the break. A 2nd and a 13th place finish. Paul Casey's been playing good. 8th place finish at the AMX. Franceso Molinari, a 10th and an 8th place finish. DJ. Now, DJ is coming off of that victory on the European Tour. 1st place finish there. That's not factored into this recent form rank. The only tournament that we have for him in the last 6 tournaments is the STOC, where he had a top 11 finish, but we know DJ's just dominating. So, take that as you will. Cameron Davis kind of coming in 32nd, 3rd, and a 31st place finish. Max Homa has been a stud. Max Homa has finished 42nd, 18th, 21st, and 12th. Bull Hogg here, 36th, 18th, 16th, and 23rd place finish. Wells with Torres, we kind of know that, 17th, 7th, and 52nd. Matt Jones, 30th, 48th, 21st, and 11th place finish. And then Doug Gim, running at the top 10, 37th, 5th, and 46th. Cameron Tringale as well, 17th, 18th, 56th. And then you got Brian Harmon, casually just been making a ton of cuts, 36th, 8th, 56th, and 30th. So far this season. So that's going to be it for the recent form rank. I will say, I'm going to get into the picks right now, but stay tuned because we will be going over the most optimal lineup just based off the projections on Monday. Kind of a fun thing to do there. But let's get into the picks. We'll start off here on the high tier. All right, there we go. So kind of surprising there that there's like a limited amount of options, but we'll start it by salary here. Just looking at, yes, Dustin Johnson is going to be the best play on the board this week. Kind of like, honestly, the top player this year has just been absolutely dominating. Jon Rahm still had a top 20 finish last week, and he still kind of struggled for Jon Rahm, but he still played well. DJ at 12K, I'm perfectly fine with. Just a great play overall, honestly. So we'll pull him up down here. Course history, 32nd, 45th, 2nd, and 3rd place finish. Strokes gained differential, 12th. Ball striking, 2nd. Total driving, 1st. Opportunities gained, 61st. Par 5 scoring, not enough rounds, I guess. Bogey avoidance, 1st. Strokes gained approach, 4th. Stat rank and mile rank, 1st overall. Just a great play. 94% chance to make the cut, guys. Projected score, 125 fantasy points this week. Patrick Cantlay, I don't mind as well, though. Patrick Cantlay, great course history here. Strong stat fit, ranks top 5 this week. He's just been playing a lot better, this fall swing, so I don't really mind Patrick Cantlay. If you guys want to pay up for him, you can. Where it starts to get a little bit iffy, I guess you could say, is Paul Casey. Paul Casey does have good course history here. Paul Casey's typically a guy that total drives and ball strikes the ball well, although he hasn't exactly been doing that just yet. I expect that to come around. But this is a good course for him. He is coming off a top 10 finish. I think he's priced up a little bit too much for me. I'd much rather go with Daniel Berger. I'm going to go back to the well with Daniel Berger. He missed the cut by 1. That's kind of just post-break variance, if you will. He had a 7th place finish at the Sony Open. Top 10 at the STOC, and then a top 25 at the Mokoba. Maybe just kind of got cold for a little bit. Only a top 20 stat rank, though. that's kind of the worry there. But he has been, hitting fairways, making greens, not making that many bogeys. So he's a guy that I expect to make the cut. Had a top 5 finish here last year. And then, Wilson Torres, I think he's going to be a fine GPP play. If you guys want to roll with him, you can do that. I'm perfectly fine with that. I do really like Sam Burns this week. Sam Burns hasn't had a start here in the last 4 years, which, that could be the reason you fade him. Overall, decent recent form. He's been showing a ton of upside. 2 straight T22 or better finishes after the miscut at the AMX. He's a top 10 stat fit again this week. Really just a strong stat fit overall. Good recent form. Makes him a top 10 play overall. And then Cameron Davis, I do like as a play as well. He's made his last 2 cuts here at this course, a 38th place finish and a 59th before he missed the cut in 2018. And then recent form-wise, been playing well. 32nd, 3rd, and 31st place finish. Strokes gain differential could be a little bit better this week. It's I'm a little bit worried about that, but every other stat that we're looking at is strong relatively. I do think he is priced up a little bit as well. And then just going over a couple of the course horses, you got Jason Day. Jason Day, not a good stat rank, not good recent form. I mean, if you guys are playing Jason Day, you probably played Brooks last week, so you can do that. If you want to do that, you can. Same thing with like Jordan. Played well last week. Still, though, struggled off the tee. If he does that this week, I could see him struggling once again. I'm just a little bit worried about that with him. But that's really it for me in the high tier. DJ, if you can't pay up for him, that's the route I would go. I like Berger and GPPs. Cantley does seem safe. Will Zalatoris, GPP play. There's just a bunch of decent GPP plays. I don't think we're going to be building much of our cash build out in the high tier. But let's move down into the low tier now. All right, so we got set low tier. Kevin Streelman is leading it off, and I honestly, when I saw this, I'm like, that can't be right. That's very high price point for him, but he has great course history here: 2nd, 7th, 6th, and 14th. And he has been coming into some good recent form. 22nd, 37th, miscut, and then on 32nd in his last 4 starts on tour. Overall, strong stat fit. He has been getting better as the season has went on. He's a guy that's typically a strong ball striker, strong total driver, doesn't make many bogeys. It makes sense that this has been a good course for him. I would like to see him hit a little bit more fairways and greens in regulation, but still, I actually don't mind Kevin Streelman at that price point. It does worry me a little bit, though. So last week I said Max Homa, he had kind of struggled early on the season and that his stats would eventually come around. Well, they're starting to come around. He was like a 90th stat rank play last week. Now he's at 67th. So we can kind of see that those stats are coming around. Obviously, he's been in great recent form: 42nd, 18th, 21st, and 12th over his last 4 starts. He has 2 top 15 finishes here in the last 2 years and then a miscut in 2017. So relatively, he's a good play. 88, it's a little bit high to pay up for him, but we might be forced into that. I don't mind him as a play, though. Henrik Norlander, wow. Good recent form. 3 straight make cuts in a row. That's what you want to see. Didn't have a miscut the Makoba, but that's like 6 weeks ago now. Course history-wise, 25th place finish in 2020. 2017 had 39th place finish. Stat rank, the dude has been playing some good golf. Top 10 stat rank, ranks 24th in the model overall. He ranks top 30 or better in strokes gain differential, ball striking, total driving, par 5 scoring. And then, around 68th in bogey avoidance and strokes gain approach. So, yeah, I'm liking some of Henrik Norlander this week. Does feel crazy to pay up for him at that price point. Cameron Tringali does kind of feel like a pay-up play, but he's made 3 straight cuts here at this course. Strong stat fit, top 10 this week. He's been hitting the ball well recently, and that's, like I said, that's what you want to go for this week as a player that's hitting the ball well. Does seem a lot to pay up for him. Only a GPP play for me, but 2 straight top 20 finishes, 3 straight make cuts in a row. I don't mind him. Brendan Steele, if you want to play him, you can. I'm not going to be doing that. Alex Noren, kind of the same thing. Brian Harmon, though, he's just been finding ways to make cuts. This might be kind of the shoulder shrug play of the week for me, where I just kind of end up on him and it's kind of whatever. Ranks out decently well this week. Don't mind him. Matt Jones, our value play last week, and our top value play last week. Our top value play hasn't missed a cut in 2020. He got a huge price bump. Okay, so he was 6.9 last week. Now he's 8.1. 4 straight make cuts in a row. Would do that with decently good course history. Had a 5th place finish here last year, 53rd in 2019, In 2018, a miscut. And then in 2017, a 23rd place finish. So obviously, when he's playing well, he can go out and play well at this course. Overall, he's a top 15 stat fit. His only worry, and I think this could be the most key stat, is ball striking, where he ranks 123rd. Total driving's 51st, opportunities gained 35th, par 5 scoring 48th, bogey avoidance 44th, and strokes gained approach 19th. So yeah, I kind of think that he makes the cut. You do worry about paying up for him at that price point, but I think it could be worth it. James Hahn has made 3 out of 4 cuts. He had a good fall swing. He's playing some great golf. Top 10 stat fit. I think he's worth it in GPPs. Then Matthew Naismith, going to be more of the same, where we saw that with the stats that a good round or a good tournament was going to come from him. He kind of was just having a couple of blow-up rounds that were kind of costing him. So the 7th place finish last week was not surprising. He's been a strong stat fit really this whole year. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if he goes out and wins this week. He's a good stat fit, great stat fit for this course. I mean, his lowest stat for this course is bogey avoidance at 67. He's top 12 in strokes gained differential, ball striking, total driving. I don't mind him. If he can kind of clean up his around the green game, he's going to have a good finish here. I mean, this is kind of the risk reward section this week is what it's kind of showing me. Lots of risk. You're kind of chasing recent form. You're chasing stat fit there, but it could be worth it this week. It's definitely a much more correctly priced week. I'll tell you that, where we're not getting like extreme discounted plays, where I don't know if DraftKings is exactly going to be forcing us into plays this week like they have been previously. So Matt Kuchar does have good course history, not a good stat fit though. I'm worried about him. Chris Kirk, we could go back to the well with him. Doesn't have the best course history here. That miscut, that horrible Friday round really cost him, but he is still his top 20 stat rank. It won't surprise me if he goes out and has a good week. Peter Molinari, mixed course history, mixed recent form. Okay stat fit, top 10 in par 5 scoring, 22nd in bogey avoidance, 34th in ball striking, 46th in opportunities gained. And then he kind of sucks in strokes gained differential and total driving. So, his results could really just vary across the board there. So you do worry about him a little bit. Russell Knox has been playing, some strong golf this season. He's top 11 stat rank play. Miscut last year at this course, but then a 14th and a 15th place finish. I think he'd be worth it in GPPs, and maybe we'd be forced to play him in cash and not like exactly feel good about it. But 34th in strokes gained differential, 33rd in ball striking, 4th in total driving, 62nd in bogey avoidance. That's the worry, and then 5th in strokes gained approach. So I could see him having a good week. Wyndham Clark, I don't mind. I don't love. 3 straight make cuts in a row, 2 straight at this tournament. Top 40 stat fit. It's okay play. Nick Taylor, he's made 3 out of his last 4 cuts, but he did miss a cut last week. He has decent course history here. His game just hasn't been where you'd want it to be if you're going to pay up for him. Scott Stallings, this is a course where he's enjoyed it. He missed a cut here last year, but before that, a 3rd, a 7th, and a 14th place finish. He is coming off of a made cut last week, and guess what? He's a top 15 stat fit. Where he sucks is par 5 scoring and bogey avoidance. Ranks over 100th in all those. The stat that you're hanging your hat on with him is going to be strokes gained approach, where he ranks 9th. You have to chase something here in this range where we're just not having many plays that are checking all the boxes. Once again, checking all the boxes is, my 3 rules of 3. Recent form wise, they have at least 1 top 30 or better finish and 3 straight made cuts. Same thing with tournament history. 3 out of 4 made cuts with at least a top 30 finish, and then stat rank. I want them to be a top 30 stat rank play. We really don't have any players that are checking all the boxes this week. Doug Gim would be if he had decent course history. He does not. He's missed 2 straight cuts here. Decent recent form though. Top 21 stat fit. So you could end up on him. Ches Reavie is a guy that has played this course really well. Horrible recent form. Top 55 stat rank play. You don't feel good about that. You can maybe chase Andrew Putnam, who overall, 36 stat rank play. But guys, look at this. This is how bad the field is. He ranks top 36 in stat rank, and he doesn't really have any good stats. So that really tells you that the field that we have. We could see a bunch of variance here. It's kind of what I'm getting at. But made cut here in 2019, miscut in 2018. 2 straight made cuts. His game has been trending in the right direction, but you kind of worry about it. I actually don't mind Jim Furyk. Made cuts at the Sony Open, 47th place finish. in 2020 at this course, miscut. 2019, 14th place finish. In 2017, 66th place finish. You know, I don't mind it. Strokes gained differential 7th, ball striking 53rd, total driving 20th, 46th in opportunities gained, bogey avoidance 95th. That, you know, you worry there, and then second in strokes gained approach. So there is a path where he does go on and has a good week. Joel Damon, you would expect him to kind of get his together, if you will. 3 straight miscuts in a row. He's made 3 straight cuts in a row, though, at this course. You know, top 30 stat fit. I don't mind him. Kyle Stanley, though. Kyle Stanley, 4 straight made cuts in a row. Hasn't had a start here in the last 4 years, but strong stat fit, top 18. This is a guy where I might just roll with it. Opportunities gained 149 and bogey avoidance 103rd. But everything else, you know, T49 or better. So, you know, if you end up on him at his price point, I get it. But really after that, there's nothing to really hang our hat on too much. You could go back to the well with Stuart Sink, who's made 3 straight cuts in a row, made 2 out of 3 cuts here as well. He ranks top 10 in stat rank this week. I'm fine with that. Scott Piercy, not that good. I mean, guys, just look at the cut percentages that I'm showing here on the right-hand side. Last week, we had a bunch of players that were like around 60th, and just based off this range, the highest player that we have is Jim Furyk at 64%. That is not good, okay? And I was getting into Patton Kizzire. Patton Kizzire is kind of like my one go-to play for this tournament. He had a bad Sunday last week, but 4 straight made cuts in a row over the last 6 tournaments. Ball striking is not there, 167th, but overall top 22 stat fit. Hasn't had a start here in the last 4 years, but overall I don't mind him as a play. He'd kind of be the one I'd want to roll with. Yeah, but if you want to go with Scott Piercy, I mean, you can. Good course history here. He's had a decent season thus far. If you end up on him, I wouldn't really blame you. You know, that's kind of it. There's nothing really elite that I would really want to hang my hat on in this price point range. Now, that might change throughout the week. That could definitely change throughout the week. But just not seeing it just yet. Just trying to find someone here. Yeah, that range just sucks in general. It's just going to be a tough tournament, as you guys are seeing. We're going to have some risk associated with our lineup process, which is something that, you know, we don't exactly want to do, but it's kind of just going to be the week that we have this week, where the last few weeks we've had a lot of plays that hang our hat on. Once again, I'll just kind of sort it by cut likelihood here. In the value tier range, let's get Austin Cook out of there. All right. So as you guys can see in this range, where we only have 3 players that have a projected cut likelihood of over 50%. Okay, Cameron Piercy, I don't mind. He's a good stat rank. Course history, so-so. Pull it up. You know, miscut in the top 10 finish. So he has shown the upside here. Good stat fit, though, and that's what we would hang our hat on. You know, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he goes out and makes the cut here. It's kind of it. Joseph Bredlet, you know, he's a guy that does have good driving distance. Had an 18th place finish at the Farmers. I don't mind him as a play. I just don't love it. 18th place finish here last year. Once again, he's a guy that hits it long off the tee, but that's really it. Is there anything else we can kind of hang our hat on? A good stat rank here, maybe. CT Pan, maybe. Roger Sloan, possibly. I mean, he's okay. Nothing great. Let's see if we got any other, you know, good ranked plays here. Okay, I'm not trusting that because he doesn't have any stats. This is all, yeah, that's not good. Let's go with the young gun, maybe. Okay, stat rank, you know, top 20 this week, which once again, this week, that's not that good overall. Hank Lebioda, maybe. Mixed results, course history-wise. Top 30 stat fit, maybe. I mean, I really like Patrick Rogers as a player. You know, I like his swag, but horrible as well. So this is a week where you really, if you're entering a lot of GPPs, really spread it out, and probably just not going to be playing a lot this week, unfortunately. It's kind of just the week that we have. So, you know, let's get into the lineup builder process here for this one. I'm going to do one build here to see which is the most optimal lineup just based off the fantasy projections that we have right now. And, you know, this makes a lot of sense. So DJ, Matthew Naismith, Wyndham Clark, Patton Kizzire, Jim Furyk, and Stuart Sink. So, that makes a lot of sense, but as you can see, that's a lot of risk associated there. Matthew Naismith, spotty recent form. I mean, has been playing better recently. Wyndham Clark, kind of same thing. Patton Kizzire doesn't have any course history here. Jim Furyk and Stuart Sink. I mean, do we really want to trust both of them in the same build? Just an interesting week overall, but that's kind of going to be the week that we're looking at this week. Going to have to dive down a little bit more to give you guys the core plays video for tomorrow. I mean, look for that. I think we're going to be able to find a good value play for you guys like we have every week. But if this is the week where our streak of nailing the value play comes to an end, it would make sense. But overall, I kind of like these weeks where the plays aren't as obvious. So we're going to have to do a deeper dive for the core plays for you guys and get those back to you. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a like and subscribe. I do appreciate that. If you guys want to use the tools featured in this video, head over to 9to5sports.com. It is $10 a month. Best value in PGA DFS. All right, guys, we're out. And as always, let's keep cash.